welcome to the My Mom is a Bitch podcast. I am Jill Maragos, your loyal, loving host. This week and every week I'm here with you. I will be at the Looney Bin in Little Rock, Arkansas, Wednesday through Saturday this week. If you're a fan of stand-up comedy, you can do that. I've got that going on for me. And that's really, it's kind of all the exciting news I have for you this week. I thought this week we could talk about, or I guess I could talk about, and you could hear if you want to. I don't know why I say we. It's just me. It's so dumb. Anyway, this week, I thought it might be useful for me to talk about the long-lasting effects of having a narcissistic parent. And I don't want this to be fuel for finger pointing, right? Like I like to arm myself with this kind of information so I can go, oh, wait a minute. This is why I do that thing. I do that thing because of this. It's my brain operates this way because of these things. And it gives me a chance to kind of step back from it and kind of recognize why I'm doing it. And it gives me the ability to try to change it. So with that in mind, I found a few articles which I found were a little bit interesting. This one's written by a Dr. Craig Malkin. It was on Psychology Today. I feel like that's credible. And these all sort of struck home with me. 8 common long-lasting effects of narcissistic parenting. Subtitle, What Happens When You Live in the Shadow of a Narcissistic Parent? And I thought these were all kind of true. First thing is chronic self-blame. Narcissistic parents may or may not be openly abusive, but they're almost certainly emotionally tone deaf. 2, preoccupied with their own concerns to hear our pain. Because emotionally sensitive children who long for love can't just walk out the door and find a new family, they often nurture hope by sacrificing their own self-esteem. I'm the problem, they tell themselves. If I were quieter, calmer, or happier, my mother wouldn't yell at me, ignore me, or criticize me all the time. Yeah, that sounds familiar. If I fix myself, I'll finally be loved. And sadly, we blame ourselves for what's missing from our lives to preserve a shred of hope. And I do feel like these things carry on through our adult life. We blame ourselves for things that go wrong. And sometimes you are responsible for things. You can't blame yourself for everything, okay? Even you know the things that you're not supposed to be blaming yourself for. And you're just like, I mean, could be my fault, you know. My husband says I make him drink too much. What the fuck? You can't make somebody drink too much unless you're tying your husband to a chair, forcing his mouth open and pouring the Jack Daniels down his throat. You're not making anybody drink anything. He's drinking all that shit on his own. Number 2, egoism. This is his own term. If you're particularly sensitive or empathetic by nature, you're more likely to respond to narcissistic parenting with a stance I call echonism? It's like mechanism. Yeah, he calls it echoism. Named after the nymph Echo, who was cursed to repeat back the last few words she heard. Just as Narcissus fell in love with his own reflection, our Echo fell in love with Narcissus. So narcissistic parents who explode without warning or collapse in tears anytime a child dares to express a need force sensitive children to take up as little room as possible, as if having any expectations at all is an act of selfishness. Like egoists struggle to have a voice of their own and often end up with extremely narcissistic partners. Think about that for just a second. Think about if one of the things that happens to you being raised by an adult parent is that you become a person with no voice, and you're looking for a person to give you a voice. Who do you think you're going to seek out? You're going to seek out the person who's more than friggin' willing to give you their voice. You know, they're not going to look to build you up. They're going to be like, yeah, this is how you think and this is how you feel. Ever have a narcissist tell you, I know what you're thinking. I know how you feel. You did this because of that. They do that shit all the time. I know what you meant. I know what you're thinking. Yeah. And if you're somebody who was raised to not know really what you think or feel, or you've played it small, they are going to fucking swoop in and take advantage of that shit immediately. They want you around. And in a way, until you get better, you're going to want them around because they solve all the problems of giving you a voice. All right. I'm off my soapbox now. Number 3, insecure attachment. All right. Think of secure attachment as our degree of comfort with becoming close to and depending on others in healthy ways. Oh man, you guys, I'm the worst at this. The neglect, abuse, or emotional absence of a narcissistic parent can make us question how safe we are in other people's hands. Roughly speaking, insecure attachment can take 2 forms. 1, avoidant attachment, in which we manage our fears by shutting people out. He puts in parentheses, maybe you've said this before. I know a lot of people have. I'll never risk depending on anyone ever again. And number 2, anxious attachment, where we chase after love, pursuing, sometimes angrily, the connection we long for with our loved ones. Why don't you pay attention to me? Whether you become anxious or avoidant depends on a complex combination of temperament and consistency in care and attention, but ongoing neglect tends to create avoidance, and unpredictable attention generally yields anxiety. I'm bad at this, you guys. I am very bad at it. It's going to sound weird, but whatever. This is my podcast, and we're all kind of fucked up. I have a hard time making friends with people. I get nervous. I get nervous talking to people. Telephone calls scare the shit out of me. I love emails, but fucking phone calls. I have to come up with the right thing to say on the spot. You guys don't know how many times I say something and then I delete it on this podcast because it's a rambling, incoherent mess. And I get worse as I get older. And it's a fucking nightmare. And meeting people in person, oh my God, it's awful. I have to go out for dinner with my husband and his boss in a couple weeks. I'm fucking terrified. If I don't wear the right thing, maybe I don't maybe it's too conservative. Maybe it's too racy. What am I going to say? What does he say what do you do for a living? Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I don't like the free fall. I do not like the free fall of actual conversation. It's scary. It's awful and scary. I'm sorry, but that's true. I don't know. Okay, what's next? We'll move on from here. Okay. This one's called need panic. Number 4, need panic. A related problem is something I call need panic. Narcissistic parents can make their children terrified of their needs, who bury them by becoming compulsive caretakers or simply falling silent. They may hum along for a while, seeming to need nothing from their partners or friends. Then a crisis hits, and suddenly, in ways they find deeply unsettling, they call their friends incessantly or seek constant reassurance. The quickest way to eliminate a need, after all, is to get it met immediately. Paradoxically, the people most afraid of their needs are apt to seem the most, quote-unquote, needy. I do this. I don't do it as much as I used to. If I've had a shitty day, oh my God, I will blow up my husband's texts. I will. Or my friend Ellen. I'll be like, oh, this happened. I can't take it. And I'm sure I look needy. I'm sure I do. I try to keep it tempered because I do want to keep them around. But it's easy to do. Push down all the needs until you're like, fucking, you gotta help me. Everything's bad. I think on the inside, I feel like they must know all the needs that I didn't call them for. But I guess not. How would they have known? I never told them about that. That makes sense. All right. I don't know. Do you do that? Do you do it? Just a question. Think about it. All right, you guys. Onward and upward. Number 5. This is a turning point. Halfway. Fierce independence. Outgoing, adventurous children may respond to narcissistic parenting by abandoning emotional intimacy altogether, believing that no one can be trusted or be relied on. This is impossible to sustain naturally and can easily engender intermittent need panic. Alternatively, children with more sensitive temperaments may become compulsively selfless caretakers, as if the only way they can enjoy nurturance? Is that a word? I don't know. They can enjoy being nurtured is vicariously by providing others with the warmth and caring they never enjoyed. So, yeah, that pretty much speaks for itself. Are you one of those people who's like, fuck that, never getting married, never get myself that close, never doing it? It's too much. Or are you somebody who just fucking, I feel like the enjoying vicariously stuff is a little bit like, I feel like mostly we feel like we need to care for somebody just to keep them around. Or it's like how we're taught to love, you know? If I pamper the shit out of you, you're going to stay. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. All right, number 6. Oh, God, this guy and his words. He makes words up. The parentified child? I don't know what that means. Temperamentally sensitive children who are often gifted empaths can develop a laser-like focus on their parents and later their partner's needs. They organize their lives around the happiness of others. Convinced they have to bolster their parents' esteem, of course, you're pretty, mom, or prevent their next explosion, I'll get your snack, you're stressed, hang on, I got you, you know, that stuff, by closely minding their every desire or whim. The frightened child turn little adult often grows up to worry endlessly about their selfishness. They may even grow to hate their own needs, viewing them as a burden to everyone else. Kind of do that. I try not to. I think that's what one would call codependence, you know? And I've worked on that some. I used to be the person who's like, you're going to wear those shoes? Are you sure? You're going to be cold. It's going to be slippery. We're going to go hiking. You sure you want to wear sneakers? You want to wear something with ankle support? I had to quell that shit because I was like, I even sound annoying to me. Like, it's stupid. Let them, people are allowed to fall and fail. If you have to micromanage somebody's every move because you're worried that they do slip and they blame you because of the shoes they picked, fucking dump them. You deserve better than that. You are not responsible for anybody but yourself. And maybe your kids if you have little kids, okay? But no. Number 7. A lot of soapboxing today, I guess. Number 7, extreme narcissism. The more aggressive a child is by nature, the more likely they are to respond to narcissistic parenting by playing a game of it. If you can't beat them, join them. I'll just make sure I'm the loudest, prettiest, smartest person in the room. That way, no one can make me feel unimportant again. If you're both born with a stubborn, bombastic temperament and exposed to the kind of neglectful or abusive parenting narcissists often provide, you're more likely to end up narcissistic yourself. Yeah, we can do that. I don't think I did it. I think I'm more of the person who got small. But yeah, I mean, we do pick up patterns. Like our parents teach us stuff. We don't know any better, you know. I was terrible at dating. I would just be like so shitty to people. And that's how my mom was. And I feel like, well, how do I know? I thought this was what kept people around. I had to unlearn a lot of that myself. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you're listening to this probably isn't you. Because none of the narcissists I know would listen to a podcast like this. So, okay. Number 8, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. The more abusive narcissistic parents become, the more likely they are to traumatize their children. And that can lead to a fearful approach of life and to PTSD. Abuse throws us into a state of constant alertness, vigilantly prepared to dodge the next danger. This typically leads to chronic anxiety, sudden memories of abuse, emotional numbing. Emotionally, like we're going to rumble. It's emotional numbing. You're numb emotionally. And even a foreshortened sense of future. I did that. I didn't think I was going to live until I was 30. And it actually says this in this article, in which people become so fixed on simply surviving that they lose the ability to imagine living beyond the present. One client felt certain, for example, that he wouldn't see his 30th birthday. How fucked up is that? I did that. When living represents a constant threat, there's no room for a 5-year plan. The future becomes nebulous, even opaque. And when that happens, mapping out the next steps in life is like trying to walk through a brick wall. Yes, That's for sure. PTSD. That leads us to the next. I'm doing a lot of reading in this one. It is what it is. Found an article, the link between narcissistic mothers and this person calls it CPTSD. Because PTSD is usually caused by one incident. Like if a person's at war, and a soldier in a war, and something traumatic happens, they're going to flash back to that event. It can change everything for them. It's a terrible thing. But CPTSD, I guess I should say CPTSD, because it's usually PTSD, is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So it's like a long, instead of it being one specified event, it's sort of a complex jambalaya of shittiness that our parents did to us. Let's see. Here, I'm just going to read this list from that article. It says, people who have CPTSD experience emotional regulation difficulties, feelings of emptiness and hopelessness, feelings of hostility and distrust, feelings of difference and defectiveness. I do that. I feel real different. Dissociative symptoms and suicidal feelings. I have not wanted to commit suicide, thankfully. If you ever think about suicide, please get help. It's not a great solution to any problem, really. That was also taken from the Psychology Today website. So that's, I say that so it legitimizes it. It's not just some jamoke saying, oh, I did a thing. I wrote a thing on the internet. And then finally, Psych Central, another website, 5 common struggles of children of narcissists, what we face in adulthood. 1, we have people-pleasing tendencies. Yup. 2, they suffer from persistent sense of self-doubt. Yup. 3, they feel guilt, shame, and fear about succeeding or being in the spotlight. 4, they have insecure or anxious attachment styles, which is what the other article said. And 5, they feel defective and worthless, which sucks. That all sucks, you guys. But again, I'm presenting these things to you because I want you to know I'm fucking right there with you. I do and have all these issues with you. 2, I want you to have context for this bullshit. Okay? If you do anything on this list and you find yourself doing it and you recognize it, you can go, oh, I know why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because of my fucking bitch ass mother. Is this an action or an activity or a mindset that I can change? Okay? So don't use this as a fucking swamp to swim in. Use it as a jumping board, a diving board, a jumping board. Fucking Jill. See? Beat myself up. Low self-esteem. Use it as a springboard or a diving board into changing what makes you unhappy in your life. Okay? I don't even want to say what's wrong with you because your brain is doing exactly what a normal human brain does to survive a shit-ass situation. And how would you have known any different? You couldn't have until now. Now you know this stuff. And if you're struggling with it, talk to a therapist. Therapists are fucking great. Most of them. And don't settle for any shitty... Oh my gosh, here I go on a thing. If you don't like your therapist, you can find a different one, right? Go to somebody who makes you feel heard. I went to like 3 or 4 before I finally found one that was like, holy shit, this makes all the sense. And I liked her. And then she retired. I felt like it was okay though, because I saw her for a few years. So everything's fine. So yeah, that's it. Did you relate to these? Send me an email. Even you guys with the talking today. It's evilmompod@gmail.com. That's the email address. evilmompod@gmail.com. Send me an email. Let me know if all of these relate to you. I'd love to hear it. You know what? I'm going to skip the journal reading this week. Should I? fuck, I feel guilty if I don't do it, but then I also feel like it's kind of dumb. All right, we'll do it. We'll do it. Fine. Okay. Here's what you need to know before I read this journal entry. I lived in Northern California, up near Santa Rosa, California, for years. I was trying to get in at a club in Sunnyvale, which is 2.5 hours away from my house. And with traffic in California, it's nuts. So I would leave like fucking 2 o'clock in the afternoon to drive out there. And multiple times I went to the club, and as a way to audition, you'd have to host. And a couple times I went out and I hosted, did my first little time there at before the other comics went up, and they wouldn't watch my set. And the only way to get past was for them to watch your set. So then I would have to come all the way back on like a Wednesday night and host the worst ever open mic. And this journal entry is the last time I drove down there. This is this week's dramatic journal reading. Welp, yesterday sucked dick. I drove all the way out to Rooster T. Feathers, 2.5 hours each way to host, and the manager there said she didn't have me down as the host. I'm fucking done. Fuck that shit. They can take their club and shove it up their gaping asshole. All right, there you go. It's your bitter host's dramatic journal reading. Never went back. I did get a nice email from the manager, or the club owner, I should say, saying, come back. And I said, nah, I'm all right. I don't think so. This has happened too many times. And she was nice about it. We're cool. I just thought that was kind of a funny journal reading. All right. Onward and upward. Let's figure out something that we can do this week to feel better. I thought it might be appropriate. I don't know if I'm going to have enough time, but I mean, we have, okay, that's fine. I wanted to talk about parenting your inner child. Don't leave. Don't shut this podcast off yet. I know it sounds stupid, and it kind of is stupid. I'm going to be honest. If it works for you, it's not stupid. For me, I just felt like this is a little dumb, okay? But I did get some stuff out of it, so I wanted to share what I know about it. The book I got, which was called Parenting Your Inner Child, they would have you do all these exercises. Who is your inner child? And you sit down at a table and you go, how are you feeling today, inner child? And you write that down, and then you would write down what came up. Oh, I'm feeling okay, a little bit sad. Oh, you're sad? Why are you sad? Blah, blah, blah. And I think the goal of that, for me anyway, the thing I got out of it, was that there's yourself and then there's your higher self. Like, do you ever just be like, oh, I'm so fucking pissed today and I don't know why? The part of your brain that's able to not look down, but look at, I don't want to say like it's looking down on you, like it's judging you. But the part of your brain that's sort of detached from all your feelings, the sort of intellectual, higher self, I guess you call it, right? Like, I had a little bout of like the PMS, and I threw a phone across the room, which is very much outside of my normal temperament. And I remember thinking, God, I just feel so mad right now, and I don't know why. I was just a bundle of fucking emotion and anger. And it was during the pandemic and everything was going wrong. And I still was like, gosh, what is happening to me? I just feel like punching stuff, And so it's sort of that separating out the part of you that is emotional and the part of you that's the thinky part, right? Because that's all we're going to try to do in all of these exercises is look at, look objectively at how we're feeling. And if you can do that, then you can go, well, wait a minute, I can work on this stuff. It's stuff I can work on. Okay. I don't have enough time to cover boundaries today, but I use it, and we will talk about boundaries. Oh, we will. We sure the fuck will. I use it, the whole self-parenting technique. I kind of use it like, oh, no, I got you now. Like I adopted myself. Does that make sense? Or it's just like, no. She did a shit-ass job. I got you now. That's what I say to myself. I'm like, nope, I got you. We're not doing this anymore. Like if you were to adopt a kid and that kid was like, out of control. Good kid, but he or she had some emotional stuff going on or like whatever. You'd be like, no, we don't do that here anymore. We don't let people talk to us that way. We don't let people treat us that way. Okay. I use it as a way to just sort of be like, no, little Jill, no inner child Jill inside there. We're not doing that. We don't allow people to do that, or I don't want to act like that. It's both about, just to clarify what my point was, it is both about how I allow people to treat me from sort of like a higher up part of myself. I don't know if that makes sense. And it's also what I allow myself to do and not do. I think that makes some sense. So really, if this is all new and it sounds weird, then, you just separate out. This is how I'm feeling. I'm feeling this way because of that. Just try to make a separation between the feelings and the thoughts. Be an observer of yourself. If this stuff sounds right up your fucking alley, if you're super into the woo-woo stuff and it fucking works for you, right on. Do that. Do the inner parenting stuff. The book I got was again called Parenting Your Inner Child. Do it. I don't know what helps you. I've never been a big fan of the whole, being in therapy and having her be like, I want you to talk to me like you talk to your mom, and I want you to pretend this. I don't do that stuff. I don't. I'm a math girl. It's never worked for me. All it does is make me feel stupid. Okay. But if it works for you, if you want to write your inner child a letter, write him a letter, write her a letter. Why not? If you want to sit down and look in the mirror and tell yourself things, fucking do it. Because that stuff helps you. Do everything that helps you. Nobody gets to tell you what works for you. You have to try shit on. I hope you're trying this shit on. Sometimes I feel real dumb telling you about it. Okay. Well, again, we're almost out of time. If you enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe. They come out every Wednesday at noon. If you didn't enjoy it, thanks for hanging out this long. You're a trooper. I love to get emails. Let me know how you're doing. If any of this shit's working for you, evilmompod@gmail.com. I hope you guys have a great week. You got it. You can do this. You're not the shitty person your parents told you you were. You deserve to have a good, loving relationship with yourself and with someone else. And I just want to say that I believe in you. And I love you. I hope you're doing well. Okay. No, you hang up. Why is this always so hard? I don't know. Okay. I'm going to do it. Okay. Bye.